You
Week,
had
big week.
big week. What's going on this week?
We're teaching people how to write books.
Oh yeah, well yeah, the
Or you are.
writeyourbook.ai challenge, and
You are. I'm not, but
we're
you are.
you're going through it, right?
No, I haven't. I've missed both days, and I apologize.
It's
Just been
not too
busy.
it's not too late to catch up, Stu. It's not too late to
Yeah,
catch up.
you're not bullying me this time to write a book.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
selling
God,
books. I'm selling books. I'm not writing books this week.
well, Stu, you can actually use a book to help you sell other books.
That is true.
And one of the great things you could do just to sell you, because it's not too late to catch up, you create a book using the new challenge, and then you use that book as a bonus that you give to people whenever they buy any of your existing books.
I
So I'm just
love it.
I'm just trying to put a little extra money in your pocket before Christmas, Stu, as friends do.
I like that.
You could also write this book, and it could be the basis of your Black Friday special. You could take care of that now
Mm.
instead of scrambling
Oh.
at the end. Yeah, I know.
Okay, you got me thinking.
And with the genies and everything we have in the writeyourbook.ai authority book challenge, it has never been easier for you to write a book. Never, ever in the history of everness has it been easier. But enough about you, Stu. It's all about me today. I'm just playing. So you had an interesting experience yesterday. You got to meet a cool dude
Yeah.
who has a book that I knew of him because of his book. Tell a
Yeah,
quick
that's a
story
very
about what
good point.
happened
Yeah,
with that.
there's a former Navy SEAL, Jason Redmond, who was injured, v- very seriously injured, like shot in the face type injured, and survived and has gone on to be, just an example of resilience and leadership and, just so many different things, faith and relationships. And that's really what he does now. He's retired from the Navy, and he was at the Naval Academy, and he came to our training group just to say hey to all the kids that want to later become SEALs or special ops members, and just talk for over an hour. And it was really incredible and enlightening, and just it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
I was glad I was able to pull that off.
And that environment, the shed. I was lucky enough to be there a couple weeks ago, and it's a dungeon, man. It's a dungeon of training, and I would expect nothing better. It's the perfect place to do what
Yeah.
you guys do.
No
So
AC,
yeah,
just
no heat,
gritty. No,
no
yeah,
no
no heat.
AC, no heat. Good
Yeah,
golly.
yeah.
Mm.
It's a joy.
Well, that's really cool. And interestingly enough, by having a book, I knew who that guy was.
Yeah,
And you had not met him, but you knew his story because of his book.
yeah.
And so books are super important if you want to establish authority, if you want to build your business. And so today we're talking about how to turn your book into a lead generation machine by putting little tripwires and lead magnets in there. And we're going to hit it kind of rapid fire, give you guys some cool stuff. But Stu, I'm
Yes.
going to turn it over to you as the podcast producer, chief interviewer. I'm going to let you guide this and see what you can get out of me.
All right. I just want to know, what's the number one thing you want to do with your book?
Most people think the number one thing you want to do with your book is make money. But what I figured out a long time ago is that the number one thing you want to do with your book is get people onto your list. Get there. Number one, you want to get them onto an email list. Number two, if you can't do that, you want to at least have them following you on social media. You want to get it to the point where you use this book to build an audience that you can then sell more books and stuff to. But the biggest mistake that you can make is have a book, promote the crap out of the book, spend a year or more making it, spend a year or more promoting the hell out of it, and then you end up with nothing. You got no list, you got nothing, and you probably didn't make actually that much money off the book. That's a sad thing. And I know people, you and I know people who've done that.
Oh,
That
sure.
that actually are famous authors who have no list. They have no platform. And that's what you gotta, that's now what everybody looks for is as an author, as an entrepreneur. There's no difference now between being an author, being an entrepreneur. If you want to be successful, you've got to have a platform. Platform simply refers to how many people you got on the list, how many people are following you on social media. That's it. So that book needs to be a vehicle for getting them onto the list. And so even if you're publishing on Amazon, you want to make sure that you are able to have mechanisms in your book that get them off of the Amazon platform and get them into your sphere of influence. So you want to capture that email, you want to capture that SMS if that's how you're doing it. There's a lot of rules around SMS now that I just am not messing around. I don't mess around with it, but some people do. You want to get that like on Facebook. You want to capture them into your network on LinkedIn. Whatever you're going to do, get them to interact with you, follow you on YouTube. You have a ton of people that follow you on YouTube and TikTok and other stuff like that. Just any kind of way that you can get them out of that book into your world so you can start pushing more stuff to them.
What determines whether or not you get them onto your social media followers list or get them on your email list?
I think
Like,
your audience is part of it, you know. So you have like young guys that maybe look at email like it's a dinosaur type thing. So you might want to
true.
start out trying to get them to follow you on Instagram or something like that, where they religiously look at that all the time. Or as opposed to my audience that, you know, they're on Facebook, but they check email. It's a little bit older crowd, you know, 30 plus.
Yeah, I'm excited to get email, Jim. I'm
No, you're
excited.
not. No, you're not.
I used to be. You remember back in the day when
Oh,
that was the
yeah.
thing? You know,
Ding. Ooh, ooh,
it would
somebody
tell
sent
me.
me
My
something.
computer would tell me I got mail.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
exciting.
Did you ever get rid of that AOL address? You still
Oh, I still have
using
AOL.
that?
I have
Okay.
AOL. I have Gmail. I have multiple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I mean, ultimately though, I mean, just as an aside, one of the things that you might really consider doing is getting people to give them a reason to give you their physical mailing address. And I want you to think about this for a second. Pretty much, unless you're sending severed heads through the mail, you put a stamp on something, the post office has to deliver it. All right. Not talking about bulk mail and stuff. Put, you know, a stamp on there, put it in a FedEx envelope, something like that. You send it to somebody, they're going to get it. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even, Stu, how'd you check the mail when you went down to your end of your driveway and got into your mailbox? How did you check the mail? You pulled the mail out. Okay, here's your stack of mail. Don't have a
Yeah.
stack of mail anymore. You had your stack of mail. What's the first thing you did when you got back in the house?
Separated the good mail from the stuff I need to read.
Okay, what's good? Okay, good. Let's go with that. What's good mail?
Um, Good mail would be, personal letters that someone wrote me,
Okay,
checks in the mail,
okay. All right.
those type of things.
Okay, so that's one pile. What's the next pile?
Um, spam.
Well,
If
okay, okay,
basically advertisements for
right.
something. Just
And where did that get sorted to?
maybe a read later type of thing, because there's coupons in it or
Oh,
something
you
like
didn't.
that.
Wow, you're a good guy. I have sorted over the trash can.
No, I actually look at some of them, and like I need a new roof, so there's 50% off roofing or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I trust the half off roof guy, but let's not go there.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is though, it used to be that most people would sort their mail into three piles. People I know that I'm excited to see something from: bills
Bills. Yeah.
and junk. Junk, real high likelihood of getting thrown away. Now, when you go down to the mailbox, maybe a bill, maybe not. Nobody writes letters anymore. And you might get a postcard or two with some kind of direct mail thing. The mailbox is pretty empty now. There's
Mm,
not a lot of competition, relatively speaking.
true.
So if you were to send something cool to a customer who knew you, liked you, trusted you, was interested in what you were doing, do you think you might be able to get a much better reaction? Absolutely. And with the cost of advertising going up, okay, sending something in the mail that might cost you a couple bucks to send, people will freak out over that, but they'll think nothing about spending $2 to get a click from a stranger. So think about that as well. When you talk about getting somebody on a list, think about getting some of your best customers onto a physical mailing list.
Oh yeah.
Just
I mean,
a thought.
I always keep these handy, Jim. Cool postcards,
Oh yeah.
right? Already ready to go. Just got to put an address in there. Boom.
There you go.
Oh, this one's already addressed. I got to mail these.
And it helps if you put them in the mail.
It's in my mail section now.
And you use those postcards to get people to do what?
Just online PT club. So
Yeah.
my online coaching programs.
Yeah, which is like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it's not a book.
Yeah. So would you spend 50 cents for the chance to make several $100s? Sure.
Yes.
That's better odds than a slot machine.
True.
And do people sign up from those?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think I've sent out 50 a month ago, and I know I got 3 new people from it.
Okay.
So
you spent 50 or $100 to make
not
1,000.
even. Oh, it was yeah, I think it came out to like 75 cents each.
Okay. So
you
spent
a little less than $100.
Okay, less than whatever you spent, you made mega multiples of it.
Yeah. Yeah. About 1,000.
Here's the thing. How did you ultimately get those people's physical mailing addresses? They bought a book.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had their address from a previous sale.
Yeah. They bought a book.
Yep.
That's the thing. You use the book to build the list, even down to just the physical process of they bought the book. And so when they buy it off of your website, instead of you just referring them to Amazon, you're like, hey, I want their address. So actually have my stuff printed on Lulu. So you do the pass through to Lulu. Lulu gives you their address, but Lulu does the printing and the shipping and all that stuff. But you still get that most valuable asset is a customer and their physical address. I'm telling y'all,
that's big.
As people get dumber with the spam filters and with the rules and the laws and the online privacy and all that other stuff, the physical mail is the only way ultimately you'll be able to own the customer. So good morning, everybody. Just want to say real quick before we dive into this stuff. What's up, Mary? What's up, David, Sonny, Paul, Vicky, Mary, Jorge, C. Ray? Welcome, everybody. Sorry, just wanted to say howdy to everyone, Stu.
That's all right.
So there you go. That's kind of your side lesson that I wasn't expecting to give you. But that's
good. I'm glad it went that direction. So tell me this, Jim. What's the best way to get people to give you their email? Can you bribe them?
Yeah, bribe them. Just bribe them. Absolutely. You bribe people to give you their email address. Because here's the thing. I want you to think about it like this. They're standing here, all right? And up here is a button, like it's a button on the ceiling. Okay. And in order for them to push that button on the ceiling, right now they're weighed down by the belief that you're going to spam them. And here's the thing about spam. People aren't worried about spam. What they're worried about is you stealing their time, wasting their time. So what you have to do is pile on this giant Popeye looking weight of value that you push this thing down that ends up pushing down the teeter-totter, and they come up here and actually push the button to give you the email. That's the way I look at it. All I got to do is give them enough value to overcome their resistance to giving me their email. So one of the fastest ways to do that with a book is simply at the beginning of the book, give them an opportunity to register their book. This is one way you can do it. Literally tell them, hey, if you want to register your book and get this, 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 and this, click this link, go to whatever the URL is, and you can offer them videos. You can offer them, you could even offer them private label rights stuff. I mean, just something, some type of bribe, some sort of value in exchange for them to registering the book. And just by using that nomenclature, there's a big word, but just by using that strategy of registering the book, you're going to get a certain number of people. And the neat thing is that if you're on Amazon, or let's say somebody pirates your book or does something that way, somebody who didn't even quote unquote buy your book from you can still go register the book and can still get on your list, and you have an opportunity to sell them something later.
Yeah, every book of mine is an advertisement for every other book, and to get on the list and to buy other things of my, page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me this: if bribery works, what about blackmail? Can we do blackmail?
Depends on how good you are with the webcam. But if you can get that webcam to turn on and them not know it, there might be a blackmail opportunity.
Okay,
I
that
like
that
the way you're thinking
that.
today, but not sure what's in the tea, but okay.
Okay, all right. So I've evolved with technology over the years, Jim,
Mm-hmm.
and I have an app. There's an app for that. Um, what's a good way to tie creating an app into your book and getting people to go on your app?
So interestingly enough, my grandson John has your app on his phone. I'm not sure to what degree he's utilizing it. He's hinted around that I need to buy him some of your books. And I told him as soon as you come out with the real-time workout video, we'll be getting a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just playing.
I'm working on it.
But, interestingly enough, everybody's got a phone. Everybody's talking about apps. I think there's a couple different ways you could look at an app. If you wanted to go through the time, energy, and effort to develop your own app, that's great. If you want to do that, I mean, there's some definite pluses and minuses to that. What is an app? An app can be a phone app. Other people call an app. We got an online app. You could even call the genies and wizards and stuff. We could call those apps if we wanted to, but I don't
That'd
want
be
to do the
interesting.
confusion. But what it is it's offering some sort of software, some sort of an app, a calculator, anything that has to do with the topic of your book that will help people to get a result quicker, faster, easier. So like with your app, you also sell products from the app, or you sell access to stuff from the app, and then you promote the app inside your books.
Yes.
So if somebody gets the app, that's a way of them being on your list because you can communicate through the app. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to develop your own app or go through all that stuff, one of the things that you can do is simply go to Google and put in your keyword plus like the word software or the word calculator or app and see what comes up. You may be able to find something that you could just refer people to. Hey, I'll, want to know of an app that's going to help you come up with all the different disc profiles for a particular person. You can go over here to my website and I'll give you access to that. Now, in some cases, that might just be they opt in and you tell them where to go. You make a little demo video of how to use somebody else's app and then refer them to it. But your whole objective was to get them on your list. You can also, when you do that search, you may be able to find freeware or shareware. There was a time when freeware and shareware was huge, and I think it still is if it's used correctly. People don't have a problem installing stuff on their computer to get a result. You just got to make sure that when you refer people to stuff that it's, good quality, not installing any kind of malware or anything like that. You got to, in other words, you got to do your own due diligence. But there are plenty of software programs out there, either online or downloadable, client side, as they say, that you could potentially either refer people to or actually get a license to and be able to refer people. It's not hard.
Something I like to do, Jim, is if let's say you don't have the ability to create your own app, or it just doesn't make sense for what you're selling.
Mhm.
Something that you can put all throughout your ebook is links to you further explaining something on YouTube, for instance, and get them to follow you on YouTube, or maybe a link to a Instagram live Q&A session, whatever that is, a podcast, whatever you have some video of you doing. That's a great way to, like I said, pull them into your world, whether it's a social media video or it's, linking them to an email list.
Absolutely. And I know you do that a lot with your books, with exercises or different exercises, different techniques and stuff like that, that enables people to be able to get a good result. But it's one thing to write about it, it's one thing to see a picture of it, it's another thing to see a video of you doing that. Now, the cool thing that you could do with that, and I think we're skipping ahead a little bit, but let's go to talking about video enabling a book. So whatever your book is, chances are the old thing of a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 10,000 words. So instead of doing a direct referral to people to your YouTube channel, if you were, again, if that's how you're building your list, though, is get them to go to your YouTube channel and then reward them, incentivize them for subscribing or commenting. But ultimately, again, I want them on something I can control. And the only thing I can control is the email address, because YouTube can shut you down. They can demonetize you. Some chucklehead can complain about one little comment you made and they turn it into a federal issue. Not that anyone would ever do that, but if I've got the email, I control it. So what if you took a collection of your best videos and just assembled them on a page, okay?
Nice. Yep.
And then you could call it whatever you want, could call it a fast track, could call it a what have you, my secret resource collection, and then you just put it behind an opt-in. So in order to get it, you make it part of that whole registration process for your book, or go over here, sign up, and I'll give you access to this stuff. 2 hours worth of training that'll give you this benefit, this benefit, this benefit. And now we've utilized it, the video content, but we have also gotten that registration, which is what we want. We want to get them on our list.
Nice. Yeah,
So
I would agree.
absolutely. Okay.
All right. So tell me this, Jim, about audiobooks, right?
So,
Have you ever used audiobooks to get people on the list?
so I have used audiobooks a couple different ways. One, like what we did for copywriting secrets, we, on the funnel, we offer as an order bump. Stu and I read the book to Stu because I knew he wasn't going to read it. I read the book to Stu, and then Stu asked me questions because we'd been doing the podcast for a while, and created a really cool version of the audiobook that we've used as an incentive to get people to buy. It's an order bump, but I've had several people say, I bought because I wanted to get the audiobook version. Another thing I've done in the past with other books is a lot of my books have been created as the result of a training. So one of the ways that I'll create a book quickly is to do a transcript of a training and then add some stuff to it. But then tell people in the book, hey, if you'd like to get access to the training that was the basis for this book, go here, register, boom. Sometimes we'll sell it. So here's the thing. Getting somebody on your list from your book doesn't necessarily mean they have to get something for free. So you can sell something in your book to get people onto the list. So just keep that in mind. Not all of this has to be free. Yes, we want to get their email, but the email of someone who buys something is worth, in my experience, at least 10 times the worth of somebody who just got something for free and is on your list and you're waiting for them to buy something. I would much rather have a list of 1,000 people who have bought something than a list of 10,000 people who got something for free.
Yeah, good point.
So there you go. So, and the cool thing is that, having an audio version of your book is easy. I mean, you can sit down and read it yourself. If you wrote it, you could sit down and read it yourself. You can pay somebody to read it. If you've done it as an interview or something like that, it's already done. You could divide it up into sections. It's really easy to turn your book into a quote unquote audiobook.
Yeah, definitely the audiobook helps me read the book because I'll read it in my house and then I'll put the audiobook on in the car, get a couple chapters under while I'm driving. So a lot of people just don't have time to read a book.
Right.
How can we, use that as a factor to get them on the list?
So one of the things that I like to do, if again, people buy books and then don't read them because they buy them, they love the promise of the book, and they want to get around to reading them. Sometimes you can conquer that with the audiobook version. I mean, I'll have books where I bought the audiobook version, and when I'm running and not dodging neighborhood dogs, I'll listen to it. The funny thing is that while I'm running, I can listen to an audiobook at 1.5 speed, and I'll have better comprehension. My mind won't wander than if I'm listening to it at 1x, just something I've figured out. But yet when I'm sitting still, I can't listen to a book faster than 1x. It's just interesting as an aside. I don't know if anybody who's here live with us has encountered that at all, or if I'm just weird, but we know that I'm weird. So one of the things that you can offer, that you'll see a lot of people offer inside of audiobooks, but also in regular books, is some sort of a handout, some sort of a cheat sheet, some sort of an exercise that is related to what's inside the book. So that helps you get that particular important result from their book faster. And so a mentor of mine, a gentleman named J. Conrad Levinson, he wrote the guerrilla marketing books. He was the originator of the guerrilla marketing concept. He started as a mentor of mine. He didn't know me. I met him through email, and then eventually he and I had shared the stage a couple times and became friends. And I remember in a limousine one day, he told me, "Yeah, I have a friend that has a really popular diet book." He said, "But the funny thing is about books, especially diet books, the premise of his book is you need to have at least 2 tablespoons of fiber a day and move for 30 minutes. You just got to turn that into 200 pages." Some people are okay with you giving them the Cliff Note version, giving them the quick checklist, giving them the quick process, giving them the quick summary. They bought the book. You got your money. Let's get them on the list by offering them a shortcut to getting the result. Either the result for the whole book, understanding, be able to get through it real quick, or a part of the book, the most important part of the book. So doing process maps, golden nuggets, cliff notes, exercise things, special handouts. Those are a great way to get people to register the book, to sign up to your list. And the funny thing is, we talked about a bunch of things in this video and other videos, but a lot of these techniques, you could use all of them. Thinking mechanically, I want you to envision a page on your website hidden behind an opt-in. They have to give you their name and email. But then all these things, you could have some videos, you could have the cheat sheet, you could have the resource, the link to a cool piece of software. All that can be on the same page. It's just like one page that they get access to, but then you can mention the different things throughout the book in the appropriate places. But you just have to create one thing. You're just giving them a bunch of different invitations throughout the book. So this isn't something that has to be complicated or a big pain in the butt.
Hey, you mentioned checklists, but I think a checklist can be used a little differently. How would you use a checklist differently than what you just explained?
So the way you would use a checklist specifically is a checklist implies that if you go through the checklist,
Mm.
you will get the promised result. So a checklist is either available for the whole book, or you can use it in individual chapters, or you can use it attached to a specific outcome in the book. But the reason why a checklist is so important and so valuable and so useful is because a checklist is always tied to a result. And so you just understand the results that people want, create a checklist for that. And then the easiest thing to do is to offer the checklist as a PDF from your website. Now, I'll give you a little trick. That PDF, anytime you publish anything as a PDF, and if it's good, people are going to share it, pass it around, rip it off, include it with different things, send it to their friends. All right. So make sure that that PDF leads back to the book. Make sure that PDF leads back to whatever you were using to get people to opt in, to get people to get in there so you can build your list. That's one thing I've noticed is that it's like, hey, here's the checklist. But it's like that checklist needs to be able to stand on its own and in such a way that it will bring people back to you. Otherwise, people really are just ripping you off. Maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally, it doesn't matter. So make sure that that PDF, anything that someone's downloading that's related to the book, is fully branded, is fully it's integrated. So anybody who gets that is like, oh, this is part of something. Let me go check out this book. Let me go check out this guy. Not just, hey, here's this PDF that came from somewhere that's amazing. So that's just a little aside.
So, okay, so how about the difference between checklists and uh, resource list or toolkits? I've used those as well for like equipment people need to do my programs,
Right.
things like that. Yeah.
So the difference between a checklist and a resource list or something like that is that a checklist implies steps. Okay, really, a checklist of getting ready to take off in an airplane, a checklist of what you should, you know, do to get somewhere. It's also tied to a process map, as opposed to a resource list or a toolkit, which is a list of stuff. It's still a list, but it's not a checklist. It's a list of stuff you could use, a list of stuff you should use, but typically it's not in order. It's just like, here's what goes in your go bag. So we'll use, let's say you had a book on um, urban survival. Stu Smith's Urban Survival Guide, How to Escape the City When the Zombies Strike. All right. Get my personal resource list, my personal packing list, my personal toolkit list of what I have in my bag, what I use for a flashlight, what I use for a knife, for hydration, for food, for shelter, for warmth, all these different things. And it's a list. It's not really a checklist. It's a resource list. Now, the cool thing you can do with those is that's actually a really good opportunity for additional income when you're doing a
True.
resource list like that, because you, of course, would populate that with your affiliate links. So when someone reads your book and they see that you are the expert because your book makes you the expert, then you say, hey, I'll give you access to my personal resource list. I'm going to tell you the exact tools I use to do stuff, the exact software I use to get a result. People are like, heck yeah, I want to know what you use. I want to know what you're doing. So, the key is that when you put these things on a list, it's got to help them do stuff faster, easier, cheaper, more efficiently. It's all tied to a result, but it's more like stuff. It's rather than a checklist, which is steps. So stuff versus steps. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, well, I like that. So earlier we talked about bribes. What about discounts? Do you see them in the same area? Discounts or money off or buy one
I,
get one free?
I think that if you can reward somebody for being a customer or thinking they're a customer, or to get somebody to buy again quickly, you want to get them into that mode of buying stuff from you, because people go through seasons. I just, as an example, this has nothing to do with a book, but this morning I made a $1,100 purchase from a company that I had bought stuff from before. They send me emails every week. Somehow my wife got on their list too, and she's like, hey, you need anything from them? Which to me is implicit permission to buy whatever the heck I want. Yeah.
Mm.
But now I know that they're going to send me, they know that I know that they know that someone who buys is likely to buy again if you give them the right incentive quickly. So why not bake that into a book? Why not either offer them the next step inside the book? Hey, next step of this be this book, it'd be this product, it'd be our PT club, whatever it is. And here's a discount code for X amount off the total thing, or X amount off your first month. I'm not a big believer in doing for new customers only, which I think is stupid. That just pisses people off. You know what I'm talking about? When somebody, it's like, hey, we have these cool discounts, but only for new customers. Well, what about us? We've been paying you all this time. So, I know you use discount codes. So what if you had a discount code that was like the customer discount code, that just, here's your personal discount code because I like you. And pretty much anything you ever buy from me, if you want to use this code, you can get a discount, or it's good for the next whatever. I'm not saying, there are pluses and minuses for that, but or at least somehow you could tie it when they buy. It's like, hey, here's a discount code for 15% off anything we have that's good for the next 30 days. I know Go Ruck does that a lot.
Yeah.
Because they know that if you're going to buy, if we get you to buy again, get you to buy again, get you to buy again. So just tying those things, actually putting them in the book, or tying them to the actual sign up. So that's another thing. Hey, would you like 20% off your next purchase? Go sign up to our list. So you don't necessarily have to put it in the book. You put it in an email when they register. But yeah, I think discounts and rewarding people for being customers is a smart deal. You very infrequently, especially if you're like in the elite level of copy and Content.ai, infrequently will you pay full boat for anything. We always try to make discount offers to reward people for being customers.
So you basically make them members of your site, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've always liked the idea of saying, you get this free membership to my site when really they're getting a free newsletter,
Right.
right? So it's not necessarily trickery, but it's just
Language.
it's different language by saying, yeah, it's hey, sign up for my free newsletter. Like
Yeah.
not many people want to do that
Or do
all the
you want
time.
sign up to get email? No one's going to do that, but get a free membership get a free membership in my online club. And then that's where you can start introducing different levels. They've already taken on the identity. I have a member. Okay, I'm a bronze member. What does silver, gold, platinum, diamond, ruby? What does that entail? What does that get me? So I think that's important. And you can include, again, includes membership in the something, something, something club. You can
Now,
offer that as well.
another thing you can offer is coaching sessions,
Yes.
right? If you have that time and you're really trying to sell something of higher value, I would assume, right?
Well, there's two different ways that you can use a book to sell coaching. The first way is to offer a paid coaching session. Hey, I charge $500 an hour, but here's a special link for $200. I'll spend 50 minutes with you and we'll come up with this plan, this plan, this plan, this plan. So it's like 60% off. That's one way of doing it. Another way you can do it is if you've got a high ticket program that is only going to be sold over a Zoom call, then you can offer a free strategy session where you or somebody else gets on it. And instead of looking at it as an expense of, oh my God, I got to spend 30 minutes with somebody, it's like, hey, I'm going to get this opportunity to meet somebody who bought my book, who meets certain criteria. So you can build a questionnaire into the front end so that you make sure you're talking to somebody who's qualified. But literally, you could talk to you, use the book to fill your calendar with people that you could be doing sales calls with. They get value, you get an opportunity to sell them something, and you're already positioned as the expert because of the book.
That's cool. Have you ever done, I've seen this done, and I'm thinking about this is one of my next to-dos, is have a book, have a test in that book, and then be able to grade it. And I'm just still trying to figure out that, grade it and give a certificate on the back end of that book.
I know that you can do that. That is
Yeah.
actually relatively simple to do.
Yeah.
So, have some sort of a certification.
Right.
Open book.
Right.
You can even do that. So it's open book certification.
I mean, I was just going to do a physical fitness test, like have them videotape them swimming, running, whatever. And, do a test on the back end and like say certified Stu Smith standards.
Stu Smith certified, because I'm Stu Smith, buddy. I think any kind of assessment, quiz, test, anything like that you could do, they read the book, they take the test, they get a certificate. People love that. I think it would be more helpful on some stuff than others, but you could even, again, turn it into a profit center. Download the PDF, or for X amount of dollars, you'll get a professionally printed and framed and actually signed by somebody. And everybody wants to have cool stuff hanging on the wall behind them to prove that there's something. So again, depending on what you're doing. Now, the one thing you want to be careful of is that you're not, inferring that they're getting college credit or anything like that. However, interestingly enough, many industries have and need to get every year a certain number of continuing education credits. And getting CE credits and getting your stuff to count as CE credits in certain industries is not very hard at all.
No, it is basically submitting what you're doing to that certification company, and they usually 9 times out of 10 will say check.
Right. So now you can advertise it as this gets you CEUs and CE. Yeah, this just whatever. That's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Of coolness. So that's a great thing to look at. So let's do one or two more of these, and then we got to wrap it up because I got another one coming up. Hopefully, and in the comments, let us know. Are you getting anything out of this? Is this giving you some ideas? If you've got a book, if you're in the middle of you're in our writeyourbook.ai challenge, or you've got a book, is this giving you any ideas on what you might be able to do within your book to start building your list? Or is anybody excited? Just let us know in the comments if this is helpful for you.
All right, so I think we can wrap it up, Jim. It's like, where do you put these? These are lead magnets, right? So where do you put these? Yeah, offers, lead magnet. Where do you put these in your Kindle ebooks?
So I would say that what you want to do is sprinkle them throughout. So at the beginning, that would make sense for you to want to offer the register this book. Hey, Register this book in order to get valuable benefits. Here's all the stuff you'll get when you register the book. So that kind of goes at the beginning. Throughout the book, if you have something where you're like, hey, if you'd like a special checklist for this, go here. So it's not really ads, but it's more calls to action at that moment that somebody, you think about it from the customer perspective. It's like, hey, if I saw this, would it make sense to say, hey, and if you'd like to see a video demonstrating this process, boom, go here. And, or if you're talking about something that might be a little complicated, and say, hey, if you'd like to see a piece of software that I use to make this process go from 2 hours down to 2 minutes, click here to watch a cool demo. So it's not like these are ads throughout. It's just little, hey, by the way, like Stu said when I went up to visit him, and he's like, oh, dude, you got to try these things that hook on your, I don't even know what the hell you call them.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, I'd like to have some of those. He said, well, here, take these. Oh, thanks, Stu. But I mean, it's like in context, these little landmines or tripwires don't need a whole lot of explanation. In fact, if it's like Shakespeare, I fear thou dost protest too much. It's like the more it's got to be a by the way thing. Hey, by the way, if you want to see a video showing how this goes, just click here. I'll show you in 3 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll put it over there. I'll go check that out. So they go liberally throughout. And then at the end, hey, if you enjoyed this, you ought to join the PT Club. Hey, if you enjoyed this, you need to join Content.ai. Hey, if you enjoyed this, then it makes sense that you would want to do this over here. So that's what you do. You don't spring it on them. It totally makes sense that you mention stuff wherever. And yes, you will have some asshat that will in somewhere do a review that says, it's nothing but a big pitch. Good. That means you actually have it in there enough. Yeah, if everybody's like, hey, it's nothing but a big pitch, it's like, hey, ease off a little bit there. But 1 or 2 people saying that just means you've got it balanced pretty well. So there you go.
Man, that was a lot, Jim.
That was a lot. But here's the thing. Writing a book is a big deal. Getting results from that book is a result of strategy and tactics and doing it. The journey doesn't end when the book is finished. The journey is pretty much just starting when the book is finished. So anyway.
Yeah, I counted hyperlinks in one of my ebooks just because I was curious, and I had well over 100.
Wow.
Hyperlinks
Okay.
in my ebooks.
Nice.
Because
those are
like there's a page that's books written by Stu.
Right.
And it's 40 different books right there, all on one page with hyperlinks directly to that book, not to the store, right to that book.
Yeah.
And then from there, videos on swimming and, videos on every single exercise that I had a picture of. You can control click and see a video of that picture in motion.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean,
so don't be scared to hyperlink, especially if you got a website with related articles, videos.
Absolutely.
That'll keep your people with you.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, that's all we got, guys. If you're not a member of copyandcontent.ai, you should be. If you are curious about our writeyourbook.ai challenges, make sure you head over to writeyourbook.ai. If it's available for you to sign up, you can sign up or jump on the waiting list or bookmark it or do whatever you got to do. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next time. Great job, Stu. And everybody have a great day.